Good afternoon. It's a great honor for me to be here today and to be back in this prestigious school where I spent wonderful years of my life, some 30 years ago. Behind me, you will see scrolling in a minute some videos, some photos from the organization I work for now, Care International, and as you heard, I am the chief executive for Care in France, one of the leading NGOs in the world. Our mission is to fight extreme poverty, responding to humanitarian emergencies and fighting poverty where it happens with specific angles on women to achieve and promote women empowerment, women rights, women dignity. But that's not how I started at all. As Paolan just said, I studied here, and I was on a path, and very happy to be on that path. After 3 wonderful years at that school that opened my eyes, I opened my vision of the world, when I've learned a lot. I did what many people were doing in the 80s. I joined the big corporation. I worked for IBM as a salesman, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I wanted to be a successful business leader, become, make money, travel business class, and lead one of the main corporations in the world. After a couple of years, I went and switched to a French NGO that started here in the French Silicon Valley, on the Plateau de Saclay, right there. They had invented great programs, great software programs, very technical, and I was selling them with pride at obscene prices in the US or in Asia. We were doing really good. And yet, one day, I still remember that, and that was my first turning point in my life. I was on that plane back from Boston where I had been visiting customers, going back to Paris, traveling business class. My parents were very happy and proud of me. And I wondered if this is what I wanted to do with my life. If there was enough of a sense of achievement in my life. I was glad of what I've been doing. As I said, I enjoyed every moment of it, and I congratulate you to study here in this school and to become tomorrow valuable leaders of the economy and create value here. But I wanted more. I took a sabbatical. I went to Africa and traveled throughout Africa for 1 year. That was 1993. I was 33 years old. I spare you the wonderful beaches of Senegal and the giraffes at Mount Kilimanjaro, but I was faced with things I wasn't ready for. I saw HIV/AIDS in East Africa, 93, no cure, no nothing, no drugs. A very ugly and undignified death, lonely death, because everybody gets away from you. I saw the end of the apartheid in South Africa, 93, so the whites anxious of the blacks and the various tribes and clans fighting each other, big issues. And I spent 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually, in the deep forest of Central African Republic and the Congo, walking towards pygmy tribes. At that time, I was absolutely not interested in NGO work or solidarity work. When I was here on the campus, I was busy horseback riding and organizing shows. I was not at all a member of the numerous solidarity associations here on the campus. That was not my thing. But I ended up there among the pygmies. When we arrived in the camps, after 1 full week of walking in the forest, in the jungle, all the children and the women, they ran away. They vanished in the jungle. I had no idea these things existed. I had no idea there were places on Earth where they had never seen a white face. After a couple of days, they came back to us, started discussing, and it was, you remember that movie, The Gods Must Be Crazy, from South Africa a while ago? And there was this kind of a story. They would start asking us, we see these things in the sky, and we understand you come on one of them. Explain us, what is a plane? How a lighter? How does it work? And they were asking things to us. And after a few days, they started bringing wounded people or ill children. I had no idea. I believed, as a casual donor to UNICEF or other NGOs, I tend to believe in them when they tell you a few cents will change your life, and with a few cents you buy a vaccine, etc. But it was there in the jungle. There was missiles, rougeole, missile in the forest at the moment. This is so ugly. I had never seen children with missiles, real missiles. The people come to us and ask us for help and have no medical background whatsoever, and none of my other two friends, we don't know what to do. We spend a night agonizing about what to do and how can we help. We didn't know what we could give to the people. After a few days, another man comes and he was totally wounded on his right hand. And these people, they live, from what they can kill, the animal they can kill in the forest. That's how they survive. And he was deeply wounded and it was really ugly. And he asked for help. So we did. It was this time. It was like Harrison Ford or Crocodile Dundee. We put. It was smelly. It was dirty. His hands. We put alcohol, a lot of alcohol. Then we put a knife on the flame to clean the knife and started removing the wounds and cleaning the wounds. All the village was around us, looking at us. The man wasn't moving, pressed, and he was very scared, I'm sure. And then we cleaned whatever we could. The moment he started, to make a face, we thought, we had removed everything that was hurting. And we are right at the bone or the flesh, and we put betadine. And then asked him not to move and clean the wounds. After 2 days, I could see the difference in the wound. That was a turning point in my life. That was a turning point in my life. We had nothing. We did what we could, and I could see a difference. I could see a difference for nothing. The people in the forest didn't ask us for money. They because we wanted to pay. They were having us as guests. They didn't ask. They asked for. They said, "Do you have salt? Can you give us salt? Are there clothes you can leave? Can you leave your knife? Can you leave your electrical torch?" That's what they wanted, and that's what they needed. I came back, and I decided I resumed my job, and I decided to do some volunteer work. So I did some volunteer work at Médecins du Monde. It was 94, and someday they offered me the job. That was a big, big moment in my life, because salaries are ridiculous in our world. I knew that was the end of my travels with business class. I knew it was going to be hard, but I thought I would do it. I will do it for like 1 year, 2 years maybe. That would be my social contribution to a better world. And after 20 years, I'm still there and happy. Every day just as happy as on day one, because I know why I do it. I know that I can make a change in the lives of the people you see behind me on the screen. I can make a difference in their life. It doesn't take that much to change a life for better or for worse. They put me in charge of fundraising, which means raising money. That I had learned at school and IBM. And I was fairly successful, but it wasn't needed to be that clever. You just have to be disciplined and apply what you learn here and apply here to another environment. That worked. That was 94. 94 is the year of the genocide in Rwanda. That's the first mission where Médecins du Monde, Doctor of the World, sent me. They sent me to Kigali and then to the camps in Zaire, where children, people were dying by the thousands. I'm not talking about those who were genocide. I'm talking about the cholera epidemic outbreaks in the camps. 60,000 people dying of cholera. I wasn't at all prepared for it. Not at all. This is, of course, something you don't learn here. But I had to face that. So I've been through all these big things, Rwanda in 94, Civil War in 99, where I was being shot at. That I didn't learn at HEC either. How do you react in these kind of situations? And I never regretted it. And then comes another moment in my life. Working in the emergency environment for Médecins du Monde, either from the headquarters or in the field, takes a big toll on you. You see people dying of HIV/AIDS. You see these very young girls, age 12 or 14, who are giving birth in the bush with fistulas and dying in horrible sufferings. You see wars. It's really tough. Then came a headhunter and come and ask me to join CARE and become the CEO of CARE in France. That's another big turning point, because I wanted to not only to respond to emergencies and try to save lives. Well, with my limited possibilities, of course, but I wanted to bring hopes. And at CARE, that's what we do. We respond to big emergency, the Haiti earthquake, the tsunami, the Syria crisis. I'm back from Lebanon, and and Jordan, and we bring help, and we try to bring hope. And half of what we do is towards bettering the life of people and trying to fight for the rights. Now, you know, I've been there in this job for 12 years, happy every day. It makes a big difference, you know, because when I was, 20 years ago, when I was at a dinner and someone would ask me, and what do you do for a living? I say, well, I sell computers and I sell ERPs. Oh, how interesting, I would say the person, and quickly switch to the one sitting next on the other side, you know. But now I tell them I work for an international NGO, and I'm just back from Lebanon, and I talked to President Hollande's advisors this morning. Makes a big difference. Conversation stops at the table, everybody's looking at me, and it's very good for my ego. Very good for my ego. My parents are very proud of me, although they thought I was completely crazy to leave IBM, then to leave Systar, then to go on sabbatical. Now they're very proud. My nephews, my nieces are very proud. My concierge is very proud of me. It's so good when you feel passionate about something and when you think, you have achieved something. So today I would like to plant a seed into those who are listening to you, into each of you. Have trust in humanitarian value. Keep your values. Know what you stand for. Try to change the world. You will be leaders in many fields, in NGOs, probably in the business. Remember what you have learned here. Do not compromise too much. You will have to compromise, but not too much. Know where the values are. Stand and fight for them. You will be faced, and that makes me angry, and I think for me that's the next turning point in my life. You will be faced with bad behaviors. I want now, in my work, to change for delivering help, to fight the underlying causes of poverty, of an unjust system. I'm certainly not a political activist. I never was, and I wasn't on the campus. I never went into politics. I'm rather conservative myself. I'm very part of the system and in the system. But I want to change the system. I want it to work better for us, for our children, for the planet, for those who will follow us tomorrow. That makes me angry, really angry, to see mistakes being made again and again and again. Discussions how to fight poverty when we know what to do. There is a lack of political will. That's the key issue. There are people in power, all kinds of powers, who don't want to change. But we can change inequalities of that world. We can do it. And it makes me angry today to see women whose rights are being denied, to meet stupid extremist religious leaders, to meet corrupt government, which I do very often, unfortunately, to meet with predatory companies that couldn't care less about their impact. We do that much reality on the ground, but that big on their sustainable development report or in the media. And that makes me angry. That makes me angry to see homophobia in Cameroon or in other African countries. That makes me angry to see people dying by thousands when there is an earthquake or a tsunami. Because remember that there is not such a thing as a natural disaster. The consequences of a natural disaster, earthquake or tsunami, are always social. That the poor people that are hurt more than the other people because they live at the wrong place, because their houses cannot sustain an earthquake, for instance. Women are not equally hurt when there is natural disasters. 2/3 of the victims of the disaster of the tsunami in 2004 were women. Why? Because they don't know how to swim. They're not allowed to go into the sea. They're too modest. They were hanging on trees, for instance. The wave will take your clothes away and torn them away. Men would stand up, even if they're almost naked. Women will never do that. They will stay in the river, cry for help. If a man comes to help, they won't move. They hope that another woman will come and help them, but they don't. 2/3 of the victims are women. I saw in India after the earthquake, or in Haiti, there was the same story. You see I had this old woman crying in India. You know, she had lost her husband, she has lost her children, the community is destroyed, the house is destroyed. And she tells me, and on top of that, I've lost all my savings, $50. Because many of them participate to microfinance schemes, but there are no banks, hence microfinance. So they put their poor savings, like we did 100 years under the planks, the wooden planks of the bedroom. The waves takes everything. All the savings are gone. All the savings are gone. And this is what I want to fight now. I want to fight inequality. I want to be able to address these issues in my work, in my daily life. So I want you to remember that. And I want you to change and stand for the values. You are leaders, or you will be leaders in very difficult times. Climate change will happen no matter what. It will happen. Pauperism in North America, in Japan, in Europe will be on the rise. And inequalities in Asia or Latin America will increase as well. There will be fightings and conflicts around depleting natural resources, but oil and gas, water, land. So you will be leaders in difficult times. Do not compromise. Remember what we are saying today. Stand for your values and live a passionate and full life. And if you see a turning point in front of you, don't fear. Don't fear it. Take it and be happy. Thank you very much.